here's my review of Fight or Flight. Now, this is a movie that you have to go into just knowing that it is an over the top, dumb, fun movie because it doesn't take itself too seriously and it is just kind of insane. Where we're following this mercenary named Lucas who is on this super long flight, like a 24-hour flight from Bangkok to New York, I believe, and he's basically chasing after somebody known as the Ghost, who's this high value asset, until eventually everyone basically figures out who he is and tries to kill him on the plane. That's what this movie is, and it is crazy. This movie kind of does feels like it gets going really, really fast, starting off with him just already, like, he does do this really fun mission at the beginning, and then we're kind of right into the action of where he's assigned to go on this plane all the way to New York, and it's just very quick paced. There's a really just you have like I said, you have to buy into just the absurdity of it. Like there's so many times where like when all these people are trying to kill him, where like you'll kill someone and then it'll just stuff them in the ceiling. And there's just like a lot of stuff where you just have to, you're just like laughing at how insane it is. But if you like these, some people compared this movie to Bullet Train back from 2022, but on a plane. And I could see it. They're both very over the top action movies and both very, very fun. And I do think that if you liked that movie, that you would like this. But you have to know this movie is even crazier in terms of tone. And I think some people might not like that and won't be able to just like the absurdity of it and the silliness. But I had a very fun time watching it. The action is very, very fun in this movie. It feels like and because this plane that he's on is so big, there's always like a new part to the plane where he's using his surroundings for all these like people trying to attack him and kill him. And then there's like this subplot where he's like protecting this girl. And like I said, in terms of like a thematic level, it's not like super deep. There's really not much else to it in terms of like themes or emotion. It's really just here to have fun. And it is. But I thought that this was a nice little touch, even though it's kind of just shoved in there. Like I said, what you really should be watching this movie for is just the over-the-top action. And that is its main selling point. Like this movie is a pretty quick watch, only about an hour and 40 minutes. And so it moves very, very fastly. And even though like this flight is super long, it feels like there's just like something new every couple minutes, like every like 5-10 minutes or so, just a new action scene. And it's just really fun. Like there's this really brutal fight with a chainsaw. And it's just at that point, I was just like completely locked in to just realize how insane this movie is. And I was able to just have a blast with it. Or this other fight where he's going up against these 3 ninja girls. And it was just awesome. And there's all these other different stakes because he'll even like, I'm pretty sure at a certain point he almost used like a civilian as like a shield. Like he's not really the best guy, but it's just a very fun movie. Like the action is just so much fun. And Josh Hartnett in this movie is just really funny. Like he's a very funny character and a very funny actor. And this movie is funny because of its absurdity. And once he does find the Ghost, who's the girl, it's just fun seeing their interactions. And then there's this whole backstory. It feels so weird, like how she's actually sold into slavery and like kind of has been running her whole life. It felt so out of place in such a silly movie to have such a deep backstory and such a tragic character in a movie that's absurd and weird as this. And in terms of like, if we're just talking about like insane over the top performances, I mean, Josh Hartnett is great in this movie. I found him to be a blast. And like I said, it's because I bought into just the dumb fun of this movie. Because that's really all this movie is. And I think that he's great in here. I really liked him in Trap. I thought he was really fun in that movie. And I don't think this movie is as good as that movie. But this movie is definitely a lot more crazier than that movie. And if you like over-the-top, crazy, super violent movies, you'll like this movie. I think the one thing about this movie is at the end of it ends so abruptly. It ends on this cliffhanger. And it's quite frustrating because it's like it almost sets up like another movie that we're probably is not going to happen. But it's like, I want to see more of that. I want to see what's going to happen. So that part was a little frustrating, but like, other than that, if you just go into this movie just wanting to have a fun time, see some over the top action in just a condensed space, you're going to like this movie because this movie is a lot of fun. So yeah, if you like just fun, super violent action movies, then you will like this movie, but you'll have to just go in knowing that it is weird and absurd and very dumb. But other than that, I had a very fun time with this movie.